But want to dive into some NFL because we got some draft bets that I want to talk about here from our friends at BetMGM. So if you go over to BetMGM, they have lines out available for every team in the NFL, the odds of what position they are going to select first with their first pick in the upcoming NFL draft. So the first team we'll look at is the Buffalo Bills right now. They are favored to draft a defensive lineman or pass rusher, edge rusher at minus 105. Cornerbacks up there at plus 310. You got safety at 5-1. You got offensive lineman 7-1, wide receiver at 13-1 as well. I think it's simple for Buffalo. They got to go defense with their first pick, right? Josh Allen just won MVP. You have one of the best O-lines in football. He won MVP without having a top wide receiver, which I think suits him because the end of the Diggs era and that relationship, I think having an established guy like that who constantly wanted the ball was bad for Josh, that he felt like he had to force feed him. Allen was at his best this year when he just sat back and read what the defense gave him, didn't feel like he had to give it to a certain guy an X amount of times throughout the game. So I think Buffalo's going defense. Now, whether it's pass rusher, corner, or safety, again, with how many great quarterbacks there are in the AFC and the importance of getting after the quarterback, pairing somebody with Von Miller, I think that's what the Bills are going to do. So I really like them with their first pick in the upcoming draft to select a D lineman at minus 105. Then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have obviously had an interesting offseason. No more Russell Wilson, he's on the Giants. No more Justin Fields, he's on the Jets. But enter DK Metcalf, who they trade for in the offseason and bring over from Seattle. So now you lose Najee Harris as well at running back. So you have Jalen Warren, you got Pickens, and you got Metcalf on the outside, and you don't know who your quarterback is. Whether it ends up being Aaron Rodgers or whether it ends up being one of the young quarterbacks, I think Pittsburgh has to protect their guy under center. The defense, as we know, is really good. TJ Watt's still one of the best players in football. Minka on the back end. You have some nice young corners, good linebackers. Tomlin's a defensive guy. Steelers are always going to be solid on defense. But I think Pittsburgh needs to continue to upgrade the O-line. And at plus 500, I think that makes a lot of sense for them to do. I like that price a lot for the Steelers to draft an O-lineman with their first pick in the upcoming draft. Then we have the Cowboys at plus 130 to draft a wide receiver with their first pick. What I've noticed about Dallas the last 3 or 4 years is that all the reports that we usually get, all the people that cover Dallas, who they tell us who they think they're going to draft, ends up usually being right. And right now, what I'm seeing a majority of is that Dallas is going to select the wide receiver out of Arizona, Tet McMillan, and I think that's what they're going to do, right? I mean, Dallas needs another weapon outside of CeeDee Lamb on the outside. Dak Prescott is going to come back. He's going to start the season. You bring in Schottenheimer as the head coach. I like plus 130 for Dallas to draft a wide receiver. Maybe it's Matthew Golden, who they end up going with. I think it's going to be Tet McMillan. I think that makes way more sense. I like that pick for the Cowboys, and I like the price at plus 130 as well. Chicago Bears. So fascinating what the Bears are going to do with their first selection in the draft. They're selecting 10th this year in the draft. I think we all expected it to be Ashton Genty out of Boise State, and it certainly could be. Right now, there are a lot of rumblings, though, that Vegas is going to get Genty at number 6. They obviously traded for Geno in the offseason, so they have their quarterback. You got your pass catcher in Brock Bowers. Now you need a great running back to lean on. A lot of people feel like they're going to get Genty at number 6, which they certainly could do. Chicago's in play at 10. They're plus 195 to get a running back. That's the favorite of what position they're going to draft. But I think there's a lot of value on Chicago to draft an O-lineman at plus 250 with their first pick. Ben Johnson comes over as the Bears head coach. Think about the Lions offense the last couple years, right, in Detroit. First things you think of, how great their O-line is, and then that dynamic running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. If Genty is there, I think Chicago goes running back because, again, having a Gibbs-type piece was so big for Ben Johnson in that offense. I think he wants that in Chicago. If they can't get Genty, though, so important to protect Caleb Williams. That was the Bears' biggest issue last year. It's great to have Romeo Doubs, and it's great to have, Roma Dunze and Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. It's great to have Caleb Williams. It's not great when he has no time to throw the football. So they might even go O-line, even if Genty is still there. I think they probably go Genty, But if he's gone, certainly feel good about the Bears drafting an O-lineman. So I think it's going to be one of those, running back plus 190 or the O-line at plus 250. The Lions to draft a corner is 16-1. I think that's an awesome bet. The favorite right now is for Detroit to get a defensive lineman at plus 250. They're getting Aiden Hutchinson back. They're getting DJ Reader back. Remember, the Lions were so beat up on defense last year. You can never have enough corners in the NFL. And with Aaron Glenn leaving and doing such a great job with the corners last season, I think the importance of not having a coach there to help develop those guys and maybe drafting one that's already a little more NFL ready is important to the Lions. We know they don't need any help on offense. They're going defense. The question is it up front or in the secondary? I think it's 16-1, worth a bet to take the Lions to draft a corner at 16-1.